Hi guys, here is the end of month 2 of the second year, and it's been a little bit better this week, although still down. At the end of last month we were down, last week rather, we were down 9.71%, and now only down 6.75. So some slight improvement there, and it's always room for optimism, of course. So this is the position as at the 28th of May, yesterday's closing, which is the last day of the month. So I want to concentrate on a few particular stocks. Firstly, ones that we haven't really gone to before. So Argo Blockchain down here is 161. Beginning of the month, that was actually down, or beginning of the week rather, it was down at 121. There's been a lot of volatility in that, which meant I've traded in and out 3 times in the past week. Not made a shed load, but still made a nice little profit on that while still maintaining the core holding. In fact, I think I'm slightly up on my holding, and will again buy if it drops and sell if it rises on opening. Now, the Bitcoin price dived due to various extraneous reasons. It went, and the lowest I actually bought in was 115, but it did briefly dipped below 100. I missed that, but anyway, one of the reasons it had a good end to the week, Bitcoin was still down, was that it entered the MSCI World 250 index, which means the tracker funds have to buy in, and a lot of them bought in on Thursday night, it would appear. We haven't had the TR1s to prove it yet, but it would appear. And there was lots of many millions of trades, I think like 16 million or so, which is like a good proportion of the actual value of the company, because Argo is only, where are we, 614 million, so it was up at $1 billion at one point, but there's a considerable amount of the shares traded. I think it's about 8% or so after hours on Thursday, or appeared to be after hours. So that's a good one to watch and deal in. Tech Capital, which is one of my favourites. I've only got about 5%, but I'm increasing as I can. Price is currently 15.75, which I think is still a bargain. But this week, it actually has 5 main portfolio companies, because it invests in essentially startup companies that come from universities, which it's linked to all over the world. And Bellascura floated on the stock market, on the AIM market, on Friday. It floated at a price of 45p and closed the end of the day at 53p, I think. So it's a nice little premium on it. Now, Tech owns 15.13%, which was worth 7.71 million and is now worth 8.5 million at the closure, and the market cap is only 20.6. So just shy of 50% of the market cap value is in Bellascura. Now they've got a lock-in value for a year, so they can't sell it for a year, but there is a fantastic video on Vox Markets, that's VOX, and it is the CEO and CFO of Bellascura, and it's a riveting video. If you're interested in this area, watch it, because having watched it myself, I'm pretty convinced I will buy some Bellascura. I mean, I'm already invested in them because I've got Tech, but I think I will buy some actual Bellascura. They make concentrated oxygen cylinders, which are small. You can put them in a handbag or a backpack or whatever, and you cart them around. These cylinders produce, they suck in normal air, and it extracts or sidelines the nitrogen that's in the air and produces 95% oxygen. So what's available today in the sort of portable market is like big clunky canisters that run out. These things will last, they last until the reagents run out, which is supposed to be 6 or 9 months or something like that, which they will get a recurring revenue for it. Now, they raised 17.5 million so that they can now get under distribution. Apparently, in this video, the distributors are coming to them, sort of begging for the business. They've signed up with 3 of them, so it won't be too long before they start producing it. And of course, you've got the issue with COVID as well, which the oxygen is needed everywhere at the moment, even in the UK and the US. So these things will sort of float, I think, very well. In the video, something I hadn't appreciated was that their technology, they're not just oxygen concentrators, they're oxygen enrichment company, and they have this technology which is able to produce the concentrators, and they feel, and they've been talking to several parties, they said that they will be able to out-license their technology to other users of oxygen. So, there'll be no end of markets out there that need oxygen flows in some shape or form. So the indication was that could even be the bigger element of the market. But anyway, watch the video if you're anyway interested in there. Whilst on, and there's three other companies in tech capital which are all building towards flotation. Now, Tech Capital owns 100% of those three companies, or pretty much. So when one of those goes, this is going to blow that share price through the roof. So I'm adding on any weakness, and have done so in the last week. Similar, EKF, it's a medical diagnostics company which is actually selling the tubes that the COVID samples are transported in. So that's been its biggest money earner this week, or this year rather, sorry. And it's got several other arms which I won't go into, but it's in the news this week because it has a relationship with Mount Sinai Hospital in New York, I think it's in the US anyway, and they get first dibs on any new technology that comes out that they are prepared to back and essentially sort of own part of the company. Now, again on Friday, Trellis Health, again a video on Vox Markets, well worth watching. I'm also inclined perhaps to buy some of that. Now, I have some of it anyway, because what EKF do is, they fund these companies. They're part of EKF, and then EKF distribute them to shareholders. So if you were a shareholder on the 14th of December, which I was, then for every 16.25 shares you have, you get given one share in Trellis. Now, I don't have very many because I didn't have a big holding in EKF, in December. I've got a higher one now, and they become yours. Now, they're locked in again for a year. It seems to be an AIM rule. So you don't actually get them, or you can't sell them until then. But they floated on Friday at the princely sum of 40p, and they closed at 65. It's an innovative story. I won't go into detail on it because you're much better off watching the video. That's also on Vox Markets, so VOX, so well worth watching those two. EKF have done this 3 times before. Renaltrix, or Renaltrix, I suppose it would be, which also joined the MSCI 250 the end of this month. They're apparently worth 1.5 billion. I heard that on a sort of a chat show, which I haven't done to verify because that was before my time. So, good luck to EKF holders that have been there a long time. And it's the 3rd time I think that they've done these spin-offs. So, who knows? There may well be more. Next one I want to cover quickly is Microsake Systems. Another good video out there. This time it's on Investor Meet. This is by the company. Now, Microsake are joined with DVRG, which is one of my favorites, you'll remember, and they're essentially got access to all DVRG's markets, and DVRG are sponsoring them and including them their AI, the DVRG's artificial intelligence with the Microsake mass spectrometers, the miniature mass spectrometers, and their video is well worth watching. Especially, and get right to the end. I think it's 26 minutes or something like that. But the CEO, who's a very engaging chap, says things at the end. I'm not sure he should have done, but he said, essentially he meant the share price was significantly undervalued. There was great growth prospects, and he's confident that his company is going to, and I quote, knock it out of the park. So very confident there. So these smaller companies also should give a quick mention to Synergen. They've got an alpha beton inhaler, essentially, so they can cure, or not, they can reduce the prospects of dying, of course, but getting badly infected with COVID. So they've had various trials out. They got some new results which were issued, and it shot the share price, which was languishing, admittedly, at around £1, and it was going up all week after this new announcement came out, and it ended up about 163, I think. So that's making a comeback. I'm still losing on that one, but if this comes in, it will help people with respiratory diseases all over the world. In that sense, it won't just be for COVID. So worth keeping an eye on, but wouldn't be one of my top tips, let's say. Probably should also mention Oxford Biomedica. They've consistently made money for me. I keep top slicing, and occasionally I bought back on dips, and I will continue to do that practice. I've got about 6%, which I'm entirely happy with that holding. It could take off considerably more because it's got many irons in the fire. But what pushed it this last month was they make, through their lentivector platform, they make the vaccine for AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca extended the agreement with them because they're making shed loads more of it, and it essentially gave them a lot more revenue. In fact, they said, I quote, that they have to amend their projections for 2021 revenue from in excess of £50 million to in excess of £100 million, so effectively doubling the market. And there's every likelihood, apparently, that this will continue, and the 18-month extension will be further extended by maybe another 18 months or whatever thereafter. So there's plenty more scope. Quick mention of the big boys up here. 4D Pharma also had two presentations this week, one on Tuesday, where it reignited the interest in Blautix. Now, Blautix is the irritable bowel syndrome, and they've had fantastic results in it. When they announced it previously, they didn't use the word significant in all three portions, because there's irritable bowel C and D and M, which is the combination of the two. One is diarrhea, one is constipation. And now they've analysed the data further. They've basically got a product which doesn't exist on the market because there is no cure for it. Now, this does cure it. Apparently, it'll have to go into phase 3 trials now, and if they get a partner for the phase 3 trials, then that price will rocket because the partner will pay shed loads. So if Big Pharma is watching, get in there. I'm sure you already know about it now. The price has languished. It's under £1. I've bought twice. It was actually got down to about 93. I bought at 94. I bought at 97. Twice at 99. So I'm going to keep topping up. And it's got. There was another presentation on Wednesday about its oncology. Now, that's the oncology, asthma, and neurodegeneration. It's apparently able to cure or improve all areas. This is the gut microbiome that goes through their platform. So it only takes one of those, and it's going to go. Well, who knows where it'll go. Novocyte. It's more stumbles. I think I did a piece on it on its own, so I won't bother going through it again. Still hugely confident. Bought more at 350 when it dropped to that lowest. It picked up a bit on Thursday and Friday, so hopefully something is in the wind. Apparently, one of the shorters, the big hedge fund or whatever, shorters closed on Friday, and one World Quant, I think it was, reduced. It's made its second reduction. So when they reduce the shorts, they have to buy back. So there you go. And of course, DVRG, it's actually ticked down a bit in the last week, but that really just flags up that I shall buy more if it ticks down a bit more. So gone over my 11 minutes. I keep increasing the time zone, so I'll leave it there before I get to 14 minutes. And we've got the long weekend bank holiday now, so no more action till Tuesday. So happy investing and have a good weekend. Cheers.